Hi, everyone. Welcome to CNMS Advising Orientation Training presented by the College of Natural and Mathematical Sciences. Today, we will be discussing how to advise students at orientation who are pursuing a CNMS major. Here are the topics we're going to cover in today's presentation. We're going to talk about the types of majors that fall under CNMS, how we pre-advise students before orientation, when to utilize the CNMS WebEx Team Room, how to go about getting course permissions, the importance of math placement, scheduling reminders, finishing the appointment and advising notes, and important contacts. Here are the types of majors that fall under CNMS. They include biology, both our Bachelor of Arts and our Bachelor of Science degree, also our biochemistry and molecular biology degree, bioinformatics and computational biology, chemistry, which also has a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science, physics, mathematics, statistics, which does have two different tracks, applied statistics and mathematical statistics. We do also offer a variety of education degrees, including chemistry education, biology education, and physics education. And then we also have a translational life science technology program through our Shady Grove campus. Students who pursue a CNMS major have a specific sequence of courses they need to follow, and therefore their orientation advising session is very important. If you are curious to learn more about our majors, you can scan this QR code or visit our website. We also have helpful videos about our majors on our websites and also major checklists. Now we're going to talk about the communications that CNMS advising has with incoming students. For freshman students, before they attend advising, we do enter advising notes for them. And then after they attend advising, we do spot check the STEM courses in their schedule, and we also send them a post-orientation mailing with helpful resources. For transfer students, it is a little bit different. Before they attend advising, we do offer them a pre-advising session where they do have the chance to meet with a member of our team. We also enter advising notes for them in the system. After advising, we do also spot check their STEM courses in their schedule to make sure everything looks good, and they also receive a post-orientation mailing. And we will reach out to students approximately a week in advance of their orientation appointment with reminders and other important information. Now we're going to discuss how we pre-advise students. A CNMS advising representative will be reviewing the student's record before their orientation appointment, and we review the following items. We look at their declared major, we look at their math placement, we look at all previous STEM coursework, and we determine if any follow-up is needed from the student. Major course recommendations will be listed in an advising note, so please make sure you check advising history before starting the advising session. Transfer students will often have a very detailed and complex advising note, so please make sure to read that note carefully. And you, as an orientation advisor, are still responsible for reviewing general education and university requirements with the student. Now, here are some examples of when you may need to utilize the CNMS WebEx Team Room. So this is when you want to consult with us via the chat feature, or you might want to invite us into your meeting with the student. If there are no advising notes from a CNMS advising representative about STEM course recommendations, please consult with us right away. If a student decides to change their major from one CNMS major to another, then we would want to make sure we know that because that can change course recommendations. If you see the phrase consult the CNMS room for course recommendations in the advising note, that usually means that we don't have enough information for the student on file and we do need to consult with them directly in order to make accurate course recommendations. If there is new math placement, pending STEM AP credit, or maybe missing transfer credits that were not previously mentioned in the advising note, please let us know as soon as possible. If there are time or course conflicts between the courses we suggest for the student, please let us know and we can try to find alternative options. If the student is trying to add on more STEM courses than the ones we recommended, we do want to have a conversation with them about what is manageable in their first semester. And then ultimately, if any deviations are needed from what we recommend, please let us know. When the CNMS WebEx room sees your message, we will give you a thumbs up. And what that means is basically a member of the CNMS advising team will give your message the thumbs up icon to signify that we have seen your message and that a specific member of the team will work on your request. A thumbs up does not automatically mean that we agree with your question or request, so please wait to receive a response from us. And please also be patient as we can have multiple questions or requests happening in the WebEx room at the same time, so our responses can be a little bit delayed at times. You may need to enter our room to get STEM course permissions, and our team can enter course permissions for most biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and statistics courses. And oftentimes, a course permission is needed if a student has a course pending or a missing transcript that hasn't posted to their UMBC record. And the student will need to share proof of grades with us via an unofficial transcript from their previous institution, or they should access the school reports, such as College Board for AP credit, if we are using that as the basis for the course permission. You can come get permissions by consulting our CNMS and Math Permissions WebEx team room. Just make sure to provide us with the section numbers for all course components and the student's campus ID. And if the student decides to change sections of the course after the permission has been granted, a new permission will be needed. It is important to know that math placement is very critical for all students in all of our majors. Essentially, if a student does not have math placement, they are not eligible to register for STEM courses, and that is because math is a prerequisite for all of our major required courses. And there are a few ways a student can establish math placement. Usually it is through the math placement test, which is the preferred option as it has the quickest turnaround time. But they can also use a C or above that is earned in equivalent college level calculus sequence coursework. They may also have math, AP, IB, or CLEP test scores that meet our minimum standards. It is important to know that pending scores or scores that have not been received yet cannot be used for placement. It is also important to know that statistics cannot be used to determine math placement into STEM coursework. If the student does not have math placement when they arrive for advising, have them register for a full-time schedule, which is 12 credits at minimum, of GEP and elective courses. Students should then follow up with the CNMS advising office after completing their math placement for schedule adjustment. Finally, it is also important to know that CNMS majors should not register for Math 104. It does not serve purpose or as a prerequisite for the math classes they need in their major. Here are some other important reminders to keep in mind. Usually, we only recommend 2 STEM courses for students within our majors. However, there sometimes can be exceptions, and that might include transfer students, certain scholarship groups, bioinformatics majors, and those who are taking corresponding lab classes. We ultimately recommend no more than 16 total credits in a student's first semester, and we do not recommend adding on additional computer science, statistics, physics, or really any other STEM courses for fun unless approved by CNMS advising. The STEM course limit can be adjusted if they are a double major with other STEM fields. So, for example, an engineering major who's double majoring with biology may need to take a higher STEM course load in their first semester. Also, it's important to keep in mind wait lists and that wait list courses do not count towards full-time enrollment. Also, make sure when you're putting a student on a wait list that you look for the wait list that has the shortest amount of seats on the wait list, and also make sure to check the box wait list if full when having the student register. Also, avoid time conflicts with other courses in the student's schedule and make sure that the placeholder courses that are in their schedule temporarily while they wait to see what happens with a wait list will still work for the student in the long run if necessary. Here's an example of a multi-component course. Many of our STEM courses are multi-component, which means there's not just a lecture section. There's oftentimes a lecture and a discussion, or maybe lecture, discussion, and seminar, or sometimes lecture and lab. And what you want to keep in mind is that in order for a student to enroll in a multi-component course, all components of the course must have an open seat. You will also want to look at the dates, times, and locations of all components, check the available seat count, and also keep in mind that some classes do have exam periods. And in this example, we have Chem 101 on the screen, and on Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. is the exam period. And what this means is there's not going to be an exam every Friday at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., but when there is, the student should be prepared to attend at that time. You can also click on the component of the course in Class Search or Schedule Builder to read the course description and the required prerequisites. Here are some common electives or common general education courses that are good for the student to keep in mind. These range from aging classes to English, to philosophy, to psychology, to sociology. However, ultimately, the student's choice and what they take to fulfill their general education courses is completely up to them. If you are working with a transfer student who has most if not all of their general education courses complete, you may want to start looking for upper level electives, which are 300 and 400 level classes that require little or no prerequisites. And some of these areas include political science, history, anthropology, sociology, Asian studies, Africana studies, gender women studies, and American studies. Here's a screenshot of how to use the filters in Class Search to look for general education courses. This is a nice way to see all course options for a specific type of general education category, such as arts and humanities or social science. You can scan this QR code to find more information on how to search for general education courses. Here are some tips and tricks when it comes to registration and finishing up the appointment with the student. We highly recommend that you have the student register for their STEM courses first. These are usually the most important classes in the student's schedule, and they can sometimes fill very quickly. So please make sure you make that a priority during the advising session. As a reminder, also don't add on any additional STEM classes unless confirmed with CNMS advising first. We also recommend that at some point during the meeting with the student that you check in with the CNMS advising room, even if it's just to send us a message to say, "Hey, I've almost wrapped up with the student. Can you check to make sure the schedule looks good?" We're certainly happy to do so. And also know that you are responsible for making sure you check the general education or elective coursework in the student's schedule. And finally, please make sure that you take detailed advising notes, and these should include any changes or deviations from the original recommendations CNMS advising made, and also make sure to mention the student's intended major. Sometimes the students will switch their major from what is declared on their record to something else, and we really want to make sure we know what the student is pursuing in the long run. Please feel free to pause this video to take the time to read this sample advising note. Why I really like this advising note is it includes important aspects such as intended major, missing transfer coursework, incoming AP scores, a summary of the courses the student enrolled in and why, and also it provides the CNMS advising contact information. Here is some contact information for our pre-health advising offices. We have two different advising offices on campus based on the student's interest. So those students who are interested in medical, dental, veterinary, optometry, or podiatry will be solved through the pre-medical and pre-dental advising office. Those students interested in nursing, pharmacy, physician assistant, occupational or physical therapy, anesthesiology assistant, athletic training, chiropractic, or dental hygiene can follow up with the Office for Academic and Pre-Professional Advising. Oftentimes, these teams will be available at orientation advising as well to assist as needed. Finally, here are various ways you or the student can connect with us. The preferred method is obviously our email address, which is cnmsadvising@umbc.edu. However, there are a variety of resources and helpful videos on our website. Also, all of the students in our college will be enrolled in our My UMBC group, which means anytime we make an important post, they will automatically receive an email about that post. They can also follow our Instagram account, and we also have a YouTube page that has helpful advising videos and also helpful student success videos. Finally, at the conclusion of this video, please feel free to go back to Blackboard as we do have an advising resource library that has a variety of helpful worksheets, including the major requirement worksheets. Thank you.